This first Isaiah, from Isaiah 1 to 39, that's pre-exile. Second Isaiah 40 to 55, during the exile. And 55 to 66, post-exile. Y'all just got an Old Testament lesson right there. And I'm in the midst of this exile, Isaiah. Our text for tonight. And it's amazing, they're in exile, but the first word from the pen of this writer of Isaiah is comfort. Something is wrong if we have public servants and preachers, pastors, but we never offer any comfort. We can't fix everything, but we can at least show up. We can at least be good listening ears, good shoulders to cry on. The text says, comfort my people. It means you have a responsibility to make sure those who are crying, you can help wipe tears away. Those who are suffering, the Bible says you gotta rejoice with those who rejoice, but weep with those who weep. The first word in exile, when they lost their culture, lost their temple, lost their synagogue, lost everything, God uses this writer to write comfort. Maybe somebody needs to hear that word tonight. Fighting whatever you gotta fight in your daily life, God is saying today, be comforted. Then it gets to verse 3, and a voice cries out, in the wilderness. First of all, there's a new context. There's this new context. The voice cries out in an odd place. The voice doesn't come from the throne. The voice doesn't come from chambers. The voice doesn't come from the 501c3 people. The voice doesn't come from the YMCA. The voice doesn't come from the colleges, the seminaries, the divinity school. No, the voice cries out in the wilderness. Because I would argue that the wilderness helps you see God in a real way. Oh, you ain't met God until you've been through a wilderness. You hear God in a new way when you're in the wilderness. You see God's face in a new way when you're in a wilderness. The wilderness is a place where there's no hope, destruction, and despair. But guess what? God shows up in the wilderness too. You may be in the wilderness, but God is with you. God's rod and God's staff will comfort you. The voice cries out in the wilderness where it looks like there's no life. God is there. Where it's dark, God is there. And that's the kind of hope we had to grab onto. Dealing with what we had to deal with. King knew about a wilderness. You know, King was hounded by J. Edgar Hoover. Surveillance all the time. He had to go against Bull Connor. He had to go against Governor George Wallace. That was a wilderness. But King always had a word that came from a wilderness. And sometimes we like preachers who can preach, but they ain't got a word for you when you're in the wilderness. And I would argue that a wilderness, Pastor Coleman, gives you a different theology. Because you can have Martin Luther King's picture in the study and give people Charles Stanley's theology from the pulpit. And I may attack your favorite preacher. But sometimes you need a word that can only be crafted and morphed through a wilderness. A voice cries out from the wilderness, get this prepared, the way of the Lord. Because every wilderness has an expiration date. You're going to shout off that one. A financial wilderness has an expiration date. A health wilderness has an expiration date. You may go through it, but you don't have to go through it always. That's why our ancestors said, I'm so glad. Struggle don't last always. I may be in trouble, but the trouble ain't in me. Way of the Lord. Get this made straight. A pathway, a highway in the desert. That means God can go anywhere. Doesn't matter what the circumstances is.
That's right.
That's why when we couldn't get into Princeton, we could sing to each other up above my head. I hear music in the air. There's got to be a God somewhere. That's somebody who knows God can make a highway in the midst of a desert. Anytime you get a blessing, God made a highway in the midst of your desert. In the wilderness, this new context. But secondly, there's this new configuration. Verse 4. Verse 4 and 5, this combination says, every valley will be lifted up. Every mountain brought low. Crooked places made straight. Rough places made smooth. Emily Town says, never accept your is as the only is that can be. I thought that would kill y'all when I came up with that one this evening. Let me try it again. Y'all act like y'all liked it better than you did the first time. Emily Townsend, that woman and scholar, said, never accept your is as the only is that can be. You can never let your is be bigger than your shall be.
Lord, have mercy.
Martin Luther King and the rest of those who were on the front line, he wasn't there by himself. They could look at the is of injustice and know that God can make a way out of no way. They can look at the is of having color and white on the front of a restaurant and know that that was not their destiny. When you look at your is, never look at it as a final destination, period. Look at it as a comma, because God has more to do. Notice it's oxymoronic. High valleys, low mountains, smooth rough places, straight crooked places. It's oxymoronic because I believe the writer wants us to understand when everything's upside down, God can turn it right side up. And God has a way of making us give in order for us to get. And God has a way for making us go down in order to get elevated. God has a way of making us go last so we can be first. There's something about the oxymoronic pedagogical law of God that what doesn't make sense don't have to make sense to us. But God makes it make sense in God's kingdom. God brings down mountains and exalts valleys. And it's this new configuration. And that's what our society needs. Some people have a vision for a new configuration. To say that we can't have candidates for president who are against our brothers and sisters of the Islamic faith. That's against God, in my view. That's a configuration we need. Everybody should have an opportunity to have health care. Your school shouldn't be based on your zip code, because your zip code don't mean you're smart. Your zip code just means you're lucky enough to live there. So we need those who will commit to a new configuration, who will have the courage, the boldness to bring down some mountains, to exalt some valleys, to smooth out some rough places and straighten out some crooked places. That takes courage, that takes anointed audacity, something that King had. King gave the challenge to the church in a letter from a Birmingham jail. He said, I'm most disappointed in the church. He said, I would go and see these magnificent palaces, and I wondered, what God did they worship there when all this hell is taking place right in the shadow of the church? I raise the same question. What kind of God you worship that you can drive a Bentley past your members who are on the bus? What kind of God do you worship? So hard and angry today. It's so unlike me. I told you about the new context, the new configuration. Lastly, there's this new connection. Our Bishop Denneman stole my last point. I leaned over to Pastor Coleman, I said, he stole my last point. Let me see if I can do the best with it I can. You know, King's last text was called, Where Do We Go From Here? Chaos or Community. And Senator Denneman alluded to it. King talks about this world house. He says the story is told of a famous novelist who found some writings. They found writings of this novelist after she died, and it was proposed plots for a new novel. And one of the proposals was a separated family inherits a big wide house that they have to live together. They have differences, they don't like each other, but in order to get the house, they have to learn how to live together. And that's what King says, whatever we do to each other, indirectly affects each other directly.
Yes,
We're all tied together, centered in an inescapable network of mutuality, woven into a fabric of a single garment of destiny. I can't be who I need to be until you be who you are called to be. And you can't be who you're called to be until I have the nerve to be who I'm called to be. And King understood about this new connection because the text closes and says, and the glory of the Lord will be revealed. That's enough to shout right there. But the major shout is all humanity.
All humanity. Yeah.
We'll see it together.
Yeah.
Pastor Coleman told you I'm at Princeton. And don't think I'm so smart. They just lowered their standards. They let me and they let anybody in. And I looked at that word all. I said, let me etymologically break this down. I did some language study, and Pastor Coleman, in Hebrew, Greek, and Aramaic, all means all. I said, let me look at some European languages. In Greek and French and Spanish and German and Danish, all still means all. I said, let me try these Asian languages. I tried Mandarin, Chinese, Japanese, Tibetan, Burmese, and I found out the same thing. All still means all. I said, I gotta go to the mother languages. Let me try the Igbo, the Yoruba, the Somali, and the Swahili. And all in Africa still means all. So I came to this cosmic conclusion. When God says all humanity, God means everybody. The ones who don't think like us, who don't dress like us, smell like us, live like us. When God says all, God means all. No matter your racial orientation, where you live, what you think, God's all includes everybody. God's got the whole world in God's hands. I'm glad today that I'm a part of the all of God. You can squeeze me out, but God puts me back in. You can write me out, but God keeps writing. Count me out, God keeps multiplying the numbers because all means all. All humanity will see it together. That means we can't really see miracles until we're looking in the same way. All humanity see it together. I close with this. There was an American sociologist who tried to teach some villagers from Ghana a lesson. He hid some fruit and said, I want all of y'all to race. Whoever gets it first wins. He was surprised that when he said this, the little boys and little girls held hands and ran together, found the treats, and shared them with one another. He said, why would you do this? I said, if one of you would go get it first, you'd win. And one of the girls said, Ubuntu. I said, what does Ubuntu mean? Ubuntu means that I can't have it all and my brothers and sisters don't have nothing. We need more Ubuntu preachers, Ubuntu congressmen and women who will say nobody should have it all and some people don't have nothing. Sometimes the most expendable and the most disposable are the least of these. Jesus said, when I was hungry, you fed me. When I was thirsty, you gave me something to drink. When I was locked up, you put some money on the book, gave me compensation. They said, when did we do that? He said, well, you done it to the least of these. When you done it to the least of these, you done it to me. I come to tell you, tell the story. I come to let you know tonight, just tell somebody the story. I heard this in the Methodist church.